Here's the agenda, very simple. The way I structured the talk is to look back a little bit. Usually these type of presentations, we tend to look at the past 12 months. Well, I haven't had 12 months here. I'm closing in on my 8th month, which is February. So I will take the liberty of looking back as far as I want or as close as I want, right? And then a look forward, that's, it's something that we all do. And it is there I will be laying out some ideas after the look back, which will have served as a framework. Most important, I think, and I want you to understand that I have a lot of pictures here. I want it to be lesser text than what ended up being, but the point is, I want you to imagine. I don't want to interrupt your dreams as you see these. And I want to understand what your dreams are. So it is an invitation for all of us to dream together and hopefully chart a course by which we can make some, if not all, the dreams come true. So, 250 years in one slide. That's pretty good. But the point I want to make is there are some highlights here that will frame the conversation or the presentation as I go forward. We became a land-grant institution in 1864. We were still a private school. It's very important. And to this day, we appreciate and try to live true to the land-grant mission. We became a state school about 100 years after that. And then we were invited to join the AAU, the very prestigious research universities in the country. And then, very recently, we joined the Big Ten. Now, I have been in Big Ten all my life, including my doctoral degrees. And I always thought that we, Rutgers University, was a part of the Big Ten. That was, I knew you were not a part of the Big Ten, but I knew that this academic peer group, certainly you belonged there. And so I'm very happy that we are a part of the Big Ten. Just to say that although we call ourselves Rutgers, New Brunswick, we realize and appreciate that we are spread across New Brunswick and Piscataway. So anytime I say New Brunswick, I mean New Brunswick and Piscataway. And because of our land-grant status, we are throughout the state. The ag experiment stations, they take us throughout the state. And I want to emphasize that the opportunity of these ag experiment stations throughout the state is truly something very special that land-grant institutions have. So we need to be thinking how best to exploit that opportunity. The other thing which is important is the 2013 legislation that created RBHS, the Health Sciences Unit, and that is co-located in New Brunswick and in Newark, and that provides us unique opportunities, really unique opportunities. So a lot of what I will say is with a view toward exploiting that opportunity. So how are we doing in terms of student enrollment? We are doing very well. We enrolled a little over 6,000 students. 82% of those are New Jersey residents. And as you can see by the Pell Grant number, we are true to the land grant mission. We are making every effort to make education accessible and affordable to a wider segment of the society that the state needs and the country needs. We take that very seriously. This is an institution with over 40,000 students, as you just said. So to create smaller environments is something that we always look forward to. We try to create high-touch, high-mentoring, smaller groups that students very much like. And that brings me to the Honors College, which is in its third year, doing very well, as you can see by numbers. Half of them are women, and 13% of them are first-generation students. That is something for us to celebrate, and I hope we will. What are we giving back to the families who send us their loved ones? They pay the tuition. Well, our one-year retention rate is pretty good, and the six-year graduation rate isn't bad either. But I will say this to you again, when we put ourselves, when we stack up against our Big Ten peers, it is clearly evident that we must do better, okay? And it is our hope that we will continue to improve the retention rates and the graduation rates. Our four-year graduation rate isn't all that great. It's close to 60%. But again, if I were to benchmark against the national standards, we are off the charts. We are much better. But that's no comfort. We need to look at our peer group, and even if we are at 80%, I constantly think about the 20%. The families who are going to incur an extra year of room and board. So we will work on this. It is a constant. Now, as we think of in-state tuition, out-of-state tuition, we must acknowledge how much we get from the state, the help that they give us. So as this pie chart shows you, for Rutgers, New Brunswick, about 42% of our revenues come from tuition and fees. And 22% is given to us by the state, appropriation and fringe benefits. So I want to acknowledge and I want to thank the state for this support. It is true, as all of us know, that over the past decade or 15 years, state support for public higher education has been declining. There have been states that didn't have budgets for 2 years. There have been institutions that saw double-digit declines in state support. So we are lucky. We are lucky to have a state, a legislature that supports higher education, sees the value that Rutgers University provides to the state and to the families. So thank you very much. It is also, as you think about the state support, it is becoming increasingly clear that public universities have to engage in significant amount of entrepreneurship, fundraising, gifts and donations. So we are doing that as well. So in this chart, it shows you, it's a very small sliver, but things are improving. Things are significantly improving. We have, and these are Rutgers, New Brunswick numbers. Last year was 126 million, but the important thing to note is the improvement from the year before. So that's significant. And just highlighting two gifts, one that went to Zimmer Lee, the largest gift in the university. And it is important because we want to make sure that students, undergraduate students, whether they are in science or engineering or business, when they come to New Brunswick, they have the opportunity to appreciate the arts and the humanities, take courses in the arts and the humanities, to find ways by which student projects are intersections of these disciplines. So Rutgers very much values this gift, and we are looking for ways by which we can have Zimmer Lee be a part of every Rutgers undergraduate experience. As you know, students come to Rutgers for a top-notch education that we deliver on, whether they be student athletes or non-athletes, the professional students or the older students. They come to Rutgers because we are known to provide that high-quality education. So this gift from the Rotkins is a very major step for us, such that our student athletes can get the academic support they need so much. A campus like ours, throughout the year, hosts many speakers, many events. So some highlights I want to share with you. The first one is we welcomed Vice President Biden. He spent half a day with us, gave a fantastic lecture on a very important topic for every university in the country, sexual violence. And he acknowledged in that lecture, in that presentation, how far ahead Rutgers was through the work of Sarah McMahon and her team. So we are very proud of that, but more than being proud, we are mindful that universities as a whole, the country now as a whole, has a lot of work to do to prevent this. So the other thing I wanted to share with you, most of you probably know, the 250th anniversary was a celebration of not only the 250 years, but also some of the dark spots that Rutgers encountered in those 250 years. And we dealt with it about as good as any university can through a committee that completed the phase 1, and the book was published. The phase 2 is ongoing. And it not only illuminates the history from which all of us learn and try to avoid such mistakes, it is good for our faculty and students to be a part of that, which they were. So, very proud of that work, and I want to continue that work, which is already continuing. And we didn't only just publish a book. We took certain actions. However late it is in the history, but certain dedications took place on campus that reflect those events or situations from which we are trying to learn. So Will's Way is now the entryway to Old Queens, and Will was an enslaved man who laid the foundation of this historic building. Douglas Residential College is one unique college in the nation. Its leadership in women's education is recognized not only in the country, throughout the world. It is celebrating its centennial year. This is the centennial year, and we are very proud of that, and we are looking forward to the next 100 years of innovation. We do a lot of stuff that involves the community, too many to list. But here I want to talk about an event that made me real humble. Beautiful, sunny, but cold December morning, 7,000 people. Then Governor-elect with his wife and daughter Emma came to run. We had the pleasure of hosting him. And I had the pleasure of running with the family. I kept up for about a mile, and off they went. But I want to say this, that I completed the race, and he and his family were still there. So I wasn't that far behind. So next year, we'll do better. This is a Research One institution. All of you know this. We are members of AAU, the Association for American Universities. So what does that mean? It means that our faculty, our research scholars, our students, doctoral students, are engaging in creating new knowledge, pushing the boundaries of knowledge, and also creating and pushing the advances in the human understanding of that new knowledge. So science and technology, we push the boundaries, but in history and sociology and philosophy, we understand the impact of those advances. Rutgers is uniquely positioned through our breadth from information sciences to the political science, from engineering to education, from life sciences to computer science. We have it. We have it right here on this campus, and we are delivering on the mission of a research university for the benefit of the state and the world. This is truly, and here I have an example of our data science institute that has been in place for several years, how they are helping with homeland security in major ballparks. The possibilities are limitless. I don't want you to leave with the impression that all we do is science, engineering, and technology. We are world famous in fields like philosophy, history, English, the Mason Gross School. They just returned from London, from the Globe Theatre, and it was very well received. So what Rutgers, New Brunswick has on this campus is comprehensive excellence across many fields with the depth that enables us and positions us to move to the next level. Now, all of this happens because we have top faculty. And our faculty get recognized year in, year out in every field that you can imagine. So here are just some selections of the recognition that our faculty have received. So how to support them better, how to retain them, and most importantly, thinking about the future generation. The new faculty members, the junior faculty members that come to Rutgers, they are being mentored by such scholars. That is truly how we pay it forward and things move forward. It should be no surprise to you that our students, educated by such top faculty, mentored and supported by such faculty, are themselves shining. So here is Rutgers Business School, that is in Newark and New Brunswick. Their students won this prize, beating out lesser-known schools like Harvard, right? So, but it is important. It is important that social entrepreneurship, which is so very relevant to the times we live in, is happening right here at Rutgers, and our students are shining. We have been winning recognition, honors for many, many years. So these two are just indications of how well we fared in the last 10 years. So how does the world see us? For those of you who don't like rankings, shut your eyes. It's fine. But the fact of the matter is, even though you shut your eyes, we will get ranked. We will get ranked. So I pay a lot of attention to rankings. Not that I lose my sleep over it, but I pay attention to rankings. And not only I pay attention to rankings, the families who send their kids to us, they pay attention to rankings. Our alumni pay attention to rankings. Corporations pay attention to rankings. Okay, so that's where we are, and we are doing quite well. We are doing quite well to be in the top 25 public universities. There are about 3,000 universities in the US alone. And if you were to just look at the national research universities, more than 150. So just to put it in context. And globally, I think there's 20,000 universities, 20,000 across the world. So we are doing quite well. But let me at this point acknowledge a sincere thank you to the highest quality staff we have here. None of this would be possible. Our faculty work, our students, the staff, they support us in such excellent ways. So thank you very much for what you do, and you do it so well on a daily basis. So just as an example, I want to share with you our beloved Ken Yuso. Need I say more? Thank you. Thank you. A famous University of Chicago president, Maynard Hutchins, had once in his inaugural speech said of the University of Chicago, "We would be a great university even if our faculty met under a tent." I very much like that statement because it goes to the core of any organization. It's the people. But I think Maynard Hutchins would agree himself that that statement is less relevant today in the world of big science and technology. Our faculty need the best laboratories. Our students need the best technology-driven classrooms. So we pay a lot of attention to the physical facilities on campus. These are expensive. So we are, in a strategic way, investing in new buildings and getting recognized by USA Today, another ranking. Not everything in Rutgers is new. Name says it all, Old Queens. This is the new office of the Chancellor after President's office moved to Winans. It's a wonderful building. I love it. I'm growing fond of it. But the point here is not a new building. The point is a new administration with a new administration structure. It's the people. And we have a new provost, a new vice chancellor for research, a new vice chancellor for communication that we share with our BHS, and a new director of Zimmer Lee. The important thing is, as we think about the future of the institution, as we think about the educational mission, as we think about faculty support, as we think about how best we can expand and excel in research, we need this kind of a structure that most of our peers have. So it is not only a new office, these are new people. So since I came in July, as soon as the fall semester started, I have been meeting with as many groups as I can, right? So meeting with students, eating with them, meeting with faculty, meeting with staff, organizing town halls right here in this room, sharing data with them, in the hopes that before we make any plan to move forward, we will be able to ask the big questions. What are the big questions for this institution? What do we see? What do the data say? So it is more important that we get the questions right before we move to strategize about how we solve those. So I've been doing that through small groups at breakfast with faculty. I am asking our faculty leaders to give lectures to the non-specialist. This is a campus spread over 4 or 5 distinct campuses. So bring people together. And can we explain to each other why we do what we do? Can a mechanical engineering explain why my research is relevant to the philosopher? Can a life scientist explain why her research is important to the engineer? And then we ask the question, why should anybody care? The fact that we first ask ourselves why we do what we do, to push the frontiers of knowledge to education, the next generation, but then why should anybody care? Brings me to the mission, the public mission of our university. We are, once again, a public land-grant mission, university. We have an obligation to let the state know what we are doing with the precious funding that we get from them. And I say this because I have gone out and met with as many senators, assemblymen, assemblywomen who would give me the time. And this has been going wonderfully. I'm so pleased. I'm so gratified that from their busy schedules, they have given me the time to come and explain to them what we do. And I'll be honest with you, and there are people here in this room who know it, some meetings are set for 30 minutes. We end up talking for an hour and 30 minutes. I come out of that room so energized about the potential of Rutgers and its public mission to the state of New Jersey. So, I said to you that I was going to look back, and this is billed as a state of the university, state of Rutgers University. So I'm sure you want to ask, so what is it? How do I see it? Well, here's how I see it. We are at a moment of great consequence, my friends. I will say this, that the next 10 years is likely to be the most consequential for this university for a long time to come. So it is very important for us to understand the opportunity before us. We are so well positioned based on what I described to you. How we move forward, how we get people together, how we collaborate and how we innovate, how we advance knowledge and how we advance human thinking. So, a look forward. I don't think anyone would be surprised looking at this word cloud. These are fields, technologies, areas where any major research university is engaged in, and so are we. But how does this match up with what New Jersey needs? And I'll come to that. And what Rutgers can deliver for New Jersey. What Rutgers can deliver for the state and the nation and beyond. Our higher purpose, beyond research, education, and engagement, our higher purpose is to meld the three together to serve the people of New Jersey, to focus, to improve the well-being of everyone in the state, to articulate our value proposition to anyone who lives in the state, such that we can partner with the state together. And are we doing that?
My name is Alex Matthews. I am the Honors Scholarship. My name is Alex Matthews.
I am in the Honors College. I'm a part of the class of 2019. I'm majoring in biochemistry with concentration in plant systems.
My name's Enrique Figueredo, and I am a first-year MFA student at Mason Gross School of the Arts. I work mostly with woodblock prints. I'm really interested in public art.
I'm Jay Tishfield, and I'm Distinguished Professor in the Department of Genetics. I work in an area called psychiatric genetics. Huge numbers of people in our population suffer from psychiatric disorders. As human beings, we want to help them.
With all the excess greenhouse gases, it's important to just realize how the Earth can regulate itself and how carbon flows through ecosystems and through organisms. A lot of research is being done with carbon sequestration, and that basically deals with how to pull the excess carbon out of the atmosphere and store it into a carbon sink, like the soil in forests or peat bogs.
Our goal was to take our patients with Tourette's and to make stem cells from their body cells, and then to make brain-type nerve cells from these body cells, and to see if the genetics of Tourette's manifest in these brain cells. And the answer is yes.
We see through hate, windows of understanding. The inspiration for that was the attack in Virginia. A couple of the faculty and staff wanted to organize a community-wide, we don't believe that here.
Our goal is to reduce human suffering. Every little step that makes their lives better is the satisfaction that we ultimately get.
Because I couldn't get a roll of paper that big, I couldn't get a canvas that big, and if I were to do that, it would be super expensive. I said, wow, I can just get some hand-me-down fabric and sew it together, and the sewing itself is an act of mending and bringing together.
What I like most about Rutgers is just how much is going on at the school. This summer I had the opportunity to work at a pollination ecology lab, the opportunity to go to different conferences.
The kids at Rutgers, by and large, work very hard. And the top kids at Rutgers are as good as the top kids you find at any school. What we do here is we train the next generation of scientists.
Rutgers and Mason Gross really tries to use these artists that are here studying and making work, trying to put it towards something in New Brunswick while they're here, which is pretty remarkable.
There's no shortage of interesting questions, and pursuing the unknown is a lot more fun than working on the known.
I hope it gives you an idea of our commitment to the higher purpose of a public university. Beyond the research, beyond the education, beyond the community engagement, to bring it all together, meld it together for advancing new knowledge and making it work for the people of the state. So let me share with you 4 strategies or 4 areas where I think we need to make advances, invest. As I said early on, this is the starting of a conversation. Please understand, I welcome your input, and through small groups and big groups, we will try to figure out how best we are going to achieve this. Did you know that Rutgers University, all campuses combined, brings in more federal research dollars than every other college and university in the state, including Princeton? That is a big deal. That is a big deal. We have the bandwidth, we have the capacity, we have the talent. I don't think too many people know this, or the impact of this kind of a research enterprise that we have. So, what is a goal? How about we set a goal of being in the top 10 in the next 10 years? We are in the top 20. The boundary conditions are excellent. Certain things have to be done, of course. and that means increase basic research, translational research, increase our part of large centers, institutes, and network. That is where the big money is going to come from. That is where federal research is headed. But I want to make sure that I did not give you the impression that single PI grant of a mathematician is not appreciated. Because the Fields medalist will come from here. So we must make sure that field-defining research is conducted here. Whether it is funded by the foundations or whether it is funded internally, we want to make that clear. But in order to be at that scale of top 10 federal research dollars, we need to up our game in the large centers business. We are well positioned to do that. That is not enough. We need to take those results from the lab straight to the market. It's a long process, but we need to focus on that. And we have the talent, we have the expertise, we have the experience for creating startups. What we need to do, I think, and this is from the conversation that I've had, is to create that culture of accelerators and incubators, that innovation ecosystem, such that every Rutgers student, graduate student or undergraduate student, thinks about, can I be a part of this incubator? Research parks, whatever fits Rutgers is what we should do. But this is where it is headed. And we will work with the state. We will work with the business community. They are very well positioned to collaborate with Rutgers. And we can increase our share of the federal grants through a strategy like this, which will then, if you pardon the graphic, this is the best we could do. But we will drive the innovation highway. We will. This is the state of Bell Labs, right? But those were the days when Nobel Prizes were enough. Nobel Prizes are still very good, but we as a public research university, land-grant university, need to convert that basic knowledge and new knowledge for the benefit of the people. And we are well positioned to do that. In order for us to do that, we must recruit and retain top faculty. I think Rutgers University New Brunswick must think about a 50% increase, at least, in engineering and computer sciences. Let me explain. Computer sciences is broadly, I'm referring to information sciences, hardcore computer sciences, data sciences, statistics. I'm using that terminology. Because even medicine, the newest colleges of medicine are engineering and technology based. We have a great school of engineering. We just need to increase the bandwidth. Our partnerships with RBHS is hinging on our ability to provide that support, and great collaborations will happen. Our School of Engineering is about 150 faculty. If we could, 300 would be a good number. If you look at the top schools of engineering and look at their sizes, so engineering and computer sciences broadly is where we have to grow. There will be, as I said, as we strategize and think how we're going to do it, there will be commensurate increases in physics, in chemistry. So while I'm framing it as precisely as I can, I want you to understand the spill effects will be on the entire institution. And this is a great opportunity for us to step back and acknowledge that while we are the most diverse institution in student population in the Big Ten, it is not so for faculty. It is not so for faculty. So it is going to be very important through this opportunity for us to pay attention to underrepresentation in the sciences, engineering, and other fields. And this is really something we can do. How are we going to do this? It is going to cost us money. Well, as I showed to you, we have great opportunity in fundraising. The glass is half full. It's not half empty. We understand how much we have to grow, and I'll show you some numbers later in the presentation. We have to build state-of-the-art labs. That is what top faculty will require. That is what retention will require. So we have to make sure that we are able to do this. And I think it is very important through our federal office in Washington, D.C., with whom we work so well, Rutgers faculty have to be at the table in the policymaking discussions, in the funding discussions. So I'm not only saying being in the visiting boards and advisory boards, I'm saying Rutgers faculty as program officers in key federal agencies, as an IPA. It makes a huge difference. When Washington, D.C. thinks about nanoscience, they ought to call Rutgers. When Washington, D.C. thinks about food innovation, they ought to call Rutgers. When Washington, D.C. thinks about continuous manufacturing, they do call Rutgers. We know that. We need to become an institution of choice for students. We are the institution of choice for students in New Jersey. We know that. I showed you the numbers. But we have to be the institution of choice across the nation and globally. So here is a number that you might not have seen. In the Big Ten, we are dead last when you look at percentage of out-of-state students. Dead last. This is costing us money. If we were to be at the middle of the pack, that would be an increase of 10 to 12 percentage points. And if you remember the tuition differential, this is costing us money. On the one hand, we want to partner with the state. We will continue to partner with the state, but we have to be entrepreneurial. We have to find ways of not only controlling costs, but raising revenues. So we have begun aggressive marketing. It began a year and a half ago, and the results are already showing. So what I'm showing you here is a new website, just a screen dump of that, very student-friendly, very organized in ways that students think about higher education. We are already beginning to see, these are real numbers, significant increases in applications for this coming fall. Now, how much of that actually converts to students that matriculate, that remains to be seen. If we get students from all over the country and internationally, we must commit ourselves to continuous innovation in their educational experience. We have to focus on enhancing that experience through a variety of approaches. None of these are new. You know of them, you heard of them. Yes, that is true. What is rather unique about Rutgers is point number 4. You would probably not see this in any other university being highlighted as experience, right? I have heard from alums all. It is what it is. But through technology, through new course scheduling systems, which we are looking at, we have the potential to make that experience much better for our students. And we must do that. Finally, building enduring connections, relations with our alums. When we have students on this campus, those students that I referred to, with the high quality education and experience and friendships that they make with the institution, they are ours for life. We must view them as ours for life. And we do, but not enough. Rutgers has a unique opportunity. We have close to 500,000 alums, but the penetration, their engagement, is not very good. Again, you use the Big Ten institution, you compare with them, and the picture emerges. So we have lots of work to do. So we need to strengthen our alumni engagement, and if we do a good job for the 4, 5, 6 years that they are here, and if we continue to maintain and enrich that relationship, it is going to work very well. So what I'm referring to is what one would say a life cycle of engagement that begins when the student is contacted, sends in the application. And for RFS students, it begins in the 7th grade, the Rutgers Future Scholars. I was pleased to meet, what a pleasure, it was an honor to meet with this group of RFS students, Rutgers Future Scholar students. Talented group. They shared with me their aspirations. And it was very clear that they are already looking at engagement. 2 of them were 2017 graduates. They were in the room with me because they are already connected. They don't want to lose that connection. So we have a lot to be proud of, what we provide, but we have to find a way to engage them better and convert that engagement into tangible benefits. This is where we are with respect to endowments compared to our Big Ten peers. Leave aside University of Michigan, which is on the, but if you look at the rest of them, I think if we are in the middle of the pack, it's not a bad place to be. So this will only happen when the fundraising is converted to fundraising. But the first step is really fundraising. Finally, enduring connections with the legislature is critically important for our public mission. And that is already happening, as I said. We have good relations, and we need to strengthen our communications. We clearly need to be on a constant conversations with them. When they think about any issue, if it's cranberries, they call Rutgers. We need to deepen our engagement, and the last point is what I was referring to. We need to be their resource. When they have an issue that they need advice on, they should be looking to us. They do, make no mistake. I'm not saying the slate is clean, no. But I'm saying we need to up our game. We need to make them realize how much we appreciate them and how much we are willing to partner with them. So I come back to the higher purpose, the purpose that I think drives this institution beyond the education, research, and engagement. So my dream, my hopes, my aspirations are the following. When the state says, the state should be thinking about Rutgers when they say The air is cleaner in New Jersey. The water is safer in New Jersey. The produce is tastier in New Jersey. The roads are better in New Jersey. The economy is robust in New Jersey. Kids are healthier in New Jersey. Our schools are better in New Jersey. And New Jersey has the economy that is for the 21st century. And most importantly, New Jersey has the workforce for that innovation economy. And by the way, they will also say people are friendlier in New Jersey. And we want to be a part of that. We really want to be a part of that. So I want us to dream together. This will define a state-university partnership that, in my experience of 35 years in higher education, does not exist. Can we create it? I think we can. We have an opportunity. I would say we have an obligation. So we inspire the next generation, and we help improve the lives of all New Jerseyans. I have just one other slide. I'm taken by quotes, as you by now understand. This is from Daniel Burnham, the great architect of many American cities, one of which is Chicago. Make no little plans, for they have no magic to stir men's blood, and therefore will probably never be realized. Make big plans, aim high. So that's what we have to do. And this came back to me just 2 weeks ago when I was in California meeting with an alum. And he brought it home to me. He said, "Chancellor, don't stop dreaming." He said that Rutgers had provided him with so much more, but he did not realize it. Now, 20 years out, he is wildly successful. And his advice to me was, go back and dream the dream. So it is not Daniel Burnham, but that came home to me through one of our own alums. And I truly appreciated that. And I think that is our obligation for the newer generation, that they need to come to Rutgers and understand either their dreams will come true right here on this campus, you will find a soulmate maybe, or that education that Rutgers has provided will hold you in good stead for success in your lives. Thank you.